Pickaxe.
Hello and welcome to YOMP! I am Simon the Honeydew Man, Diggy Hole Lane, and you are listening to YOMP. YOMP is Ye Old Movie Podcast. It's a film discussion podcast that you're listening to with me, and I am joined by the ever noisily fragrant G-Star Games.
Why have I graduated to noisily fragrant?
No,
What's going on?
It's apt. It's on brand.
Is it?
For the film.
She's blown out,
sure.
and it smells.
Oh,
gee.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Hello, beloved listener. Welcome to this episode of YOMP. I am G-Star Games, and joined by me is Bouphe.
Hello, it's me, Bouphe, and I am joined today by a film, and that film is a Sophie pick. I'm dead happy about that. You know, it's we needed it. I think after
We have too many G's.
too many G's spoil the podcast.
Yep. So, are we going to just start talking about the film? Are you sure you don't want to talk about like your tattoos or your washing arrangements?
Well,
or...
my tattoos are pretty much healed. You know, they're a little bit
Okay.
a little bit scaly still, but my gosh, they look beautiful.
Lovely.
I can have a normal bath now, which is really nice.
Oh,
Don't have to like.
Wait, so what's this washing arrangement? What's that?
Well, because I was having to wash myself like Gollum in a bath.
Oh, I see. I thought you were talking about like how you hang your washing or something.
Well, I do have to hang my wash. I have a heated era G-Star. They are fabulous.
Ooh.
Because I don't have space for it. I don't have a space for a tumble dryer. So
What's a heated air? Is it like a clothesline, but it's like it gets warm?
yeah, and it's great, and the cats love it. Sometimes.
Now this is the shit I'm talking about. Instead of talking about blowout, this is the fucking premium shit that I wanted.
Sometimes, like,
Talking about heated air.
sometimes if I wash a bath mat, I put it on the bottom rung so that Keith can have a little snooze on a heated air. But he doesn't like it. Sometimes it gets too hot. Sometimes Brenda does tend to fall off radiators quite frequently these days. So there's a lot of
my God.
cushions on floors around. If it's a double width radiator.
You should get one of those mini trampolines so she just bounces back up onto it.
That is genius. Oh, I'm going to do
We all
that.
live in a mini trampoline.
Mini tramp, Brenda.
God's sake.
Mini trap.
Mini tramp.
I just use a little heater
Yeah.
with my clothes. I've got the one that like folds upwards, like the tall one.
Yeah, mine's like, I'll have to show you a picture sometime, G. It's pretty cool. It folds out and stuff.
Yeah.
Could you post these onto the Patreon?
I'll post these.
Photos of your
I'm going to post
errors?
them now without context. Everybody has to go,
You know what this?
what?
You know what this reminds me of? It's like when you were posting that stuff from Amazon, Simon, when you were looking for the headset.
Shopping
and
on Amazon.
And it says items we'd think you'd like that would go with this item you're looking to buy, and it's like a headset and a fucking salad, you know, tosser.
Yeah.
It was like bundled. It was a bundle.
Yeah.
It wasn't even just like a suggestion that people often buy these wireless headphones and also a salad spinner. They genuinely bundled these two items together, like the Behringer guitar effects pedal. It was a chorus pedal, and it came with Feliway, the stuff that the pheromone that calms cats down. And I thought that it was because
Stinks of cat piss.
It doesn't smell that bad in my opinion, but maybe I'm just used to it.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign.
I tried a natural herbal version of it. Now that fucking stank, man. That made my whole house stink, and it didn't work. So I was having cats fighting in a stinky house, and I was like, yeah, I kind of want to rumble too now because it fucking stinks.
Oh my god. It's still the algorithm. The algorithm's making these weird bundles to shift stock.
I love it. Thank you, algorithm.
That's the
Thanks,
funniest
algorithm.
thing you've ever said, Bouphe.
Cats fighting in a stinky house.
Sake.
I'm singing a song about it. Keith's here now. Hiya, son.
So, this week's film
Yeah.
is a Sophie pick after 2 Gs.
Jeez.
Now we have Blowout, the Brian De Palma film, starring John Travolta and Nancy Allen, who's always amazing.
So I chose this
Why
because...
did you...
I got there.
Wow.
I chose this because it's something that I've seen bits and pieces on, heard a lot about, not finished the whole film for some reason. I don't know.
What?
I know, right? How could I stop watching it? And I also thought it's Brian De Palma, so Gio's gonna love it. No, Simon's gonna definitely love it. But I think it was one that I was trying to be nice to G Star. I have been trying.
Why?
What the fuck?
I know. I was just trying to be nice to her. Like,
She made you watch Ocean's 11.
Yeah, but this is to make her feel really guilty. Like, I'm gonna put some fucking bangers in there.
Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but didn't really like.
Oh.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Yeah, but I thought it would have been a nice thing, and that is a thought that counts, isn't it? Really,
Of course.
I tried,
and I appreciate that.
And I am big on sound in films as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I love when a film's got a brilliant soundtrack and really good sound design. I'm just like, that is taking it another level. I thought it would be a really nice little choice in there to save G from a Neil Breen or another prostitute killing movie.
This is literally a prostitute killing movie.
I was gonna say
it is a prostitute killing movie.
Yeah, I was watching this with ISP, and he was like, I was like, can you guess who picked this one? Or the fucking like peeping Tom sex tits prostitution. And he's like, was it Bouphe? I was like, ding ding ding,
ding ding. It's like if I were watching something that was like
made you fall asleep.
A Magnolia Wall. I'd be like, who picked this one? And it'd be like, oh, it's Jake.
Oh, Jesus
I don't mean it.
Christ.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you want to give a brief synopsis of what this film is about?
I would love to. So there's this man, Jack Terry, who he records. He's the sound man. He's the editor, sound editor, foley man for movies, but not good movies. They've all got blood in the title except for this latest one. And he goes out and he needs to get some new footage for a film. He just does it anyway. I think he just likes it, which is cool. And he accidentally, just by chance, witnesses and records a car crashing into a river, and a man dies, and there's a lady in the car, and he saves her, and people for some reason want to cover this up, and he doesn't want that to happen. He wants to solve the mystery of who did it, because he knows that instead of a tire blowing out, the tire was shot, and he can prove it, and he goes to great lengths to do that.
Excellent.
Very well done.
Don't need to watch the film now. If you haven't seen it, it's that, pretty much. Well, there's plenty of revelations, twists, a horrifying ending. Yeah. Gee, did you watch something happy after this, like I advised you to, because of the downer ending?
It really didn't affect me as much as you. I was expecting this really horrible, gut-wrenching, really fucked up, Seven sort of twist, right? I don't know. And I just was waiting, and the credits started rolling, and I'm like, oh.
We'll get there. I don't want us to just skip to the ending. But, the first time I watched this, it really affected me. I was like, oh my God.
Maybe I'm just desensitized.
Oh my, that's fucked.
Yeah.
That is so fucked.
Maybe I'm desensitized because this is from the 80s, right? And I'm not saying films weren't violent and whatever back then, but we've seen a lot of pretty violent, nonsensical violent films and whatever up until this point now. So that to me was just eh. But maybe at the time it was oh my God, that's fucked up.
The ending, I mean, having an ending that isn't everything happy Jack and Ori.
It's a poetic ending, right?
It's brave. It's brave. To do.
And I mean, it makes a change,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want us to talk too much about the ending, right at the start of the discussion.
That's fine.
But we should talk about the start because the start is so funny. I love it.
Yes, it is. But it was I was so fucking overstimulated, because of the sound of the killer. I think he was breathing, and there was a lot of really obnoxious.
Heavy on the sound.
Yeah, really heavy on the sound. And but the good thing is, like what Bouphe said, throughout the film, the sound was really well done. But there was just moments of really obnoxious, over the top sound, the beginning of the film.
So it's filmed from the killer's POV, and you can hear his heart beating. You can hear him breathing. You can hear wind sounds. There's music playing. There's girls dancing and partying.
Yep.
There's a lot of things layered on top of each other, sound-wise.
And I think that is that was done on purpose to show that this movie is not a good movie that they're making. It's absolute shite.
Yeah.
The sound guy
what do you
doesn't
mean?
know.
What do you mean Bloodbath? Bloodbath 2, Bad Day at Blood Beach, and Bordello of Blood aren't good movies? What do you mean?
I mean,
what do you mean?
To be fair, there was posters throughout this of films that I love as well.
Yes, I concur wholeheartedly with that. There were so many banger posters. It was chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. But it is I think it was done on purpose to show that they don't really know what they're fucking doing. The guy that's saying, we need more on this, we need more, give me more on this, give me more on this. He's basically he doesn't know what he's fucking on about.
Turn everything up.
Just turn everything up to max. But I thought it was great.
We get to see there's a sex scene, a woman's riding a guy, there's a girl just masturbating.
With the door
girls
open.
Dancing in there's a girl.
As you do.
There's girls dancing in transparent clothing. There's a girl having a shower who has a real shit scream. Ah! Real bad. And this interesting bit of trivia, this whole sequence was shot by the inventor of the Steadicam using a Steadicam.
Oh,
amazing!
That's so fucking cool.
Garrett Brown, which is a very cool name. I like that. And when the slasher holds up the knife, that is actually him holding the knife, because he's literally the guy holding the camera that's attached to him.
Awesome. I like that.
No one else could be the hand and the knife.
Even though, I mean, they could. David Bowie fondling his orbs, or I watched a film over the weekend it's called Wrongfully Accused, and it's got Leslie Nielsen, and he's a violinist. And obviously, I don't think Leslie Nielsen can actually play the violin. But there's more hands coming up into the scene. Very funny.
It was quite a late one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was,
Leslie Nielsen
the good films
only does films if he can snog a very pretty lady as well.
And if he can get nude as well, because he loves getting nude. Yeah, bless him.
I was going to say the movie posters for Blowout are really cool, and then I realized there's just a lot of sort of feet.
Oh,
G-Star
I didn't even
Games.
notice any feet.
Well, no, if you look at the movie poster, because I looked at IMDb and it's just, you can see the movie posters for. I'm like, oh, those are pretty cool. Then I'm like, oh, so much feet in these posters.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
I know.
Also, shout out to Anne Roth for designing Nancy Allen's costumes.
They were very nice.
It pops up on screen. She gets her own special credit that appears on screen, which is unusual. It's unusual.
Do you think that's partially because the Sally plays someone who is she's very keen on doing movie makeup, and it's a tiny role, but she says it's really, really important. And
that's a good point. Yeah,
maybe.
So maybe it would be nice for them to have a little nod saying, you know what, like this person did a lot of work on this, and it really made her character important looking.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure. I'm not convinced entirely, but it sounds reasonable.
I agree with that. That sounds right.
So we have Jack Terry, which is played by John Travolta, who I think is fantastic in this.
I think it's my favourite.
It's just peak.
It's my
Travolta.
favourite Travolta role.
He's just excellent in it. He goes out to a park to record some sound effects, like there's wind rustling the tree leaves. So he's recording some fresh sound effects for this shit film.
There's a hooty little
hopefully
owl.
Make it a bit less shit.
Little froggy.
And he's got this microphone that's just like a metal rod. It looks like a wand. And he's picking up like a conversation of people that are like 100 yards away or something. And he can hear every word they're saying. It's amazing. It picks up all these little things. But there's some weird sounds that it picks up. There's like a weird whirring sound that it picks up. And you can't really see what's causing it. But you can hear a frog. You can hear an owl's neck turning. That's how... that blew my mind, seeing that owl just turning, and you can hear the rustling of the feathers and.
Did you?
Crazy.
I really like this first part. It was nice.
Did you enjoy the split focus diopter scenes?
Yes, so much. I fucking love them. This is one thing that I will say the film really did fucking amazing. The cinematography. All the fucking the attention to detail, the shots were just so bloody well done. Very impressed.
Gorgeous,
with all
isn't
that.
it?
I'm not sure that any of the split diopters were real in this film. I think a lot of them were basically split screen effects.
Yeah,
there are split screen effects as well, blatant ones, but the diopters are not terribly convincing. That is not like a single shot with two different lenses. That's two different shots that are edited together.
Some of them are genuine split focus diopter.
Like the owl, and him recording the owl.
That's a split screen. I'm fairly sure that's a split screen.
Yeah, that's not a genuine split diopter.
But that was still fairly convincing though, when I looked at the owl one. The one in the hospital was more where they're talking about him, those two guys, and he's sort of listening in.
I cannot fucking believe smoking in hospitals. Insane. Fucking insane. It just drives me crazy.
It's brilliant.
Oh my God. How did we allow this? Ugh.
It's great. I thought that it was so pretty, and it kicked it off, and it was just like, oh God, that is just so nice. I just felt like it's
very interesting visually, and the sound is very interesting, which is a key part to the film, obviously.
Do you think that
but that weird whirring sound, that strange, very strange.
I loved it. And he needed new wind, so that's why he went out to get it.
Yeah. It's got this massive archive of all these sound effects that he's recorded over the years.
Yeah, I thought it was very cool.
It'd be a shame if everything just got erased, and surely his career would be over at that point. But, oh well, hope that doesn't happen to him. So yeah, he's out recording these sound effects, and then a car is driving by, there's a bang, the car smashes through the barrier of the bridge and goes into the water. Just out of fucking nowhere, this happens. And I mean, this is obviously inspired by the real life events that happened of Senator Ted Kennedy at Chappaquiddick, where he was clearly drunk, left a party with a young lady. He was, I think, 37 and she was in her 20s. And she was like, hey, let's go. You can drive me home. And so he gets into a car that he normally has a chauffeur drive for him, drives off of the fucking bridge. The car goes into the water. He escapes. The girl fucking drowns. He walks back to the party, gets in the back of someone's car. They see him in the back of the car, and he says, can you just drive me back? Just drive me home. They drive him home, and then he goes to bed. And it isn't until the next morning that he tells the police that he crashed a car and the fucking woman drowned. Insane. Absolutely insane.
Bloody hell.
Horrible, man.
So yeah, that happened to real-life Senator Ted Kennedy.
Is that
and
Bobby Kennedy's brother? Or
it's part of the Kennedy family. It might be his brother. I'm not sure. Yeah. The dynasty.
Well, they all sound like real. I mean, they are all pieces of shit. I mean, anything I've ever heard about any Kennedy, it's always just like they're kind of trash. So
yeah,
I'm not surprised.
So yeah, the car splashes in the water, but Jack manages to actually save the passenger, but the driver drowns.
I didn't even see the person. I didn't see another person in the car, which was weird. Unless I just wasn't. I just maybe I missed it.
You saw him in the driver's seat, and he had blood coming out of his head.
Oh yes. You're right.
I did really like when the car was filling up with water, but it was also filling up with blood, so that the water was red inside the car, and it had like a split. No, it was really clever. I thought it was super cool.
No, it was.
There's a few giallo kind of things with the film. It's not. I wouldn't call this a giallo movie.
It's inspired by, I guess.
Yeah, there's a few.
Sorry,
things.
Explain that for anyone who doesn't understand what that means.
It's a subgenre of horror from Italy. Giallo means yellow in Italian. Little horror books used to be printed with like a yellow cover or on yellow paper. So it's synonymous. Yellow and horror was synonymous.
Interesting.
So in the 70s, horror movies from Italy were called giallo, and they have a distinctive look. There's usually a killer who's a man that wears black gloves that goes after a single woman. She's like the protagonist. And someone tries to save the woman, and they usually end up dead. There's a lot of sort of POV shots. There's a lot of great lighting with like single blank colors, like everything's red, or everything's blue, or everything's green. Overhead shots.
The blood is
lots
always
of overhead
really...
shots. Yeah, there's blood, loads of blood, fucking everywhere.
But it's like really prominent as well. And a lot of the gore is quite full on, I'd say.
It's very distinctive, and usually you think that the guy that might be helping the woman could be the killer. That's a common sort of trope in giallo as well. But yeah, there's a lot of shots in this that are kind of reminiscent of it. Suspiria is obviously the famous giallo movie.
Yeah,
that people might have seen, the old one, not the new one.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you understand any of that, G?
Yes, I'm not an idiot.
Well, I was wondering whether I'd explained.
No, you explained
well
it.
enough.
You explained it perfectly. Honestly, that was very, very good description. I just wanted to, because I didn't know what it was, and I'm sure there's some people who obviously won't know what that is. So it's nice to get that sort of explanation.
Dario Argento is the big name, the big director that you want to be looking out for if you want to watch some giallo. Those are some of the big ones that broke free from Italy in a big way. Fulci did some.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think of more.
A lot of Italian names.
Italian people in the 70s. There's a good chance it's a giallo.
Oh my god!
And they've all got like really good names, haven't they? They've all got like book title names.
Bird with the crystal plumage.
They've got really good names. I'm gonna go find some. 4 Flies on Black Lace. Is that one? In the Folds of the Flesh. The Man with the Icy Eyes.
Death Laden Egg. What about that one?
It certainly did.
Kill the fatted calf and roast it.
The fuck?
Death Walks on High Heels.
That's a cool one.
The Devil Has 7 Faces.
He sure does.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just thinking. I couldn't remember. Phenomena is one of my favourite films. Fucking love that one.
With Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
That's not a giallo film.
Apparently it is on this list.
It's a monkey.
It's a monkey.
We gotta add it to the list. We're gonna check if it's on streaming. It's such a fucking insane film.
I love it.
The House with the Laughing Windows. That's such a good name for a movie.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna think of some like really good giallo titles while we go through.
They're either gonna be like good names for a giallo film or good names for like a band, like a horrorcore band or something.
Well, those of you who are listening to this podcast on a platform where there is a comments section, give us your best giallo titles.
Yeah, do it. Make some up.
Oh, gee.
Look, she's doing it for the engagements.
Yay, engagement.
It's on Shudder. It's Phenomena. And Arrow.
Yeah.
And YouTube.
So at some point, like quite early on in the film, I was like, wait a minute. John Travolta's character is called Jack. Nancy Allen's character is called Sally. Jack and Sally? Nightmare Before Christmas? What?
Well, how did you think of that? Is that where your brain went? That?
Yeah,
I just found it strange. I was
that's
like,
interesting.
Huh.
That's interesting. Surely there has to be some other Easter
They're
egg
common
pairing.
names.
They are common.
They're very common names.
It's not that they are
so-
common names, but it has to be some sort of pairing, like some sort of Hollywood Easter egg of some sort. Who knows?
There might be something behind
Maybe.
that. So
Maybe.
he rescues Sally out the back of this car that went into the river. Pulls her out. He didn't watch that episode of Mythbusters where he found out how to smash.
I was thinking the same thing.
The pressure difference and stuff. How? Oh god.
They'd have to wait for the car to fill up with water to open the door, right? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if they can smash a window like that underwater, and would that work? Because he was using a rock to smash it.
You could do.
So I wonder. Yeah.
I'm sure you could. Let's ask Mythbusters.
The important thing is that we discover Sally's a prostitute and the driver of the car is the governor and the guy who's likely to be the next president. He was just about to announce that he was going to be running for president, and he's dead now.
And all the votes were like the polls were saying that if there was a vote today, he would be our president. Like he's that popular. He's a big popular man.
It's kind of weird that we know almost nothing about him, really, isn't it? It's so.
What about this
I mean, we
politician?
don't need to. Yeah.
You don't need to know. So he takes Sally to the hospital, and he's there smoking and stuff, and giving his account to a detective who absolutely sucks.
He doesn't give a fuck.
He hates him. He's like, you are a wanker, and I do not care, but I am doing my job, so fuck you. And Sally is sedated. She's a tired lady.
But that doesn't stop Jack from like coming on to her.
Oh yeah, it says you're really pretty. Ooh.
Doesn't stop Jack from coming on to her.
Jack is quite creepy in this.
Like Shinji. No.
No. Oh.
She very, very obviously sounds sedated. The way she's talking, she just sounds out of it.
Yeah, she's on another fucking planet. She's not on planet Earth.
So obviously he goes off with her, right? Oh no, he doesn't go off with her yet. He gets a number or something.
He says, "I'll come back. You've got to stay here. I'll come back and like we'll hang out and shit." But then they send her home with him for like.
Oh
because
right, he does leave with her. That's weird.
Now it's because the detective's like, "Hey, we don't want to embarrass the senator's family, right? So don't mention.
Get this whore out of here.
Don't mention the girl. There was no girl there. You just recorded the crash. It was a blowout. There you go."
Yeah, I like how he's like, "Are you sure? You know, you saw what you saw." He's like, "Yeah, I wasn't bobbing for apples." I laughed for a good minute at that line. Like, yeah, why else would I be underwater? Like, when this car crash happened, you idiot.
And he was watching very closely and recording it and paying attention, and he clearly heard a gunshot. Like, he's 100% convinced.
Well, he's got,
This was not
an
a
ear.
blowout.
He's got an ear for this kind of stuff, right? So
He can hear the difference between a blowout and a gunshot.
Sorry, I'm eating a biscuit. I'm just eating a biscuit. I didn't want to eat a biscuit.
Fuck?
Simon, how did you not hear it? Oh my god!
Oh, yeah.
Usually,
I can hear the difference between a blowout and a biscuit.
usually, anytime he hears any semblance of chewing, he's like, "Oh, what you got there? What you got there, G? What you there, G?
Eat me cereal while there, G."
I can really tell with G though. There's just something about.
I had muted it. Anyway, he takes her back to this motel. He drives her to a motel to stay because he doesn't want to take her to his house, and she doesn't want to go home.
Does he even have a house?
Of course he has a house. What else would he do?
He's got an apartment.
Does he? Because, like, there's a bed in the... I mean, I guess it's for those late nights. Because he's got, like, a bed in the room, the sound room that he works in. So I'm like, he's either really dedicated and he has, like, a lot of late nights, or this is where he sleeps.
You see a shot of his apartment, and it's several stories up.
Yeah, I thought so.
In the actual, like, studio and stuff, that's, like, the floor above... like an arcade or something, wasn't it? Wasn't it an arcade it's above?
Yeah. The studio itself is above an arcade and cinema. But he takes it to a motel, and it's got very distinctive wallpaper.
Yeah.
And he listens, while she goes to sleep, he sits at a table and listens back to his tape. To make, he's like, yeah, I totally heard that. I totally heard it. And
he has, like, perfect recall of everything that he saw. And he's playing back the visuals in his brain as he's listening to the audio he recorded.
Some of my favorite shots of the film is that part that you're describing, where he's like messing around with the dial. He's picturing the owl. He's using his pencil for to point in the direction. How it happened, the sequence.
Yeah,
it's very good.
That was really cool.
Yeah, it's very
holding
cool.
the pencil like he does his wand microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's got a really nice bouquet on it, and it looks really dreamy, like
a
it's
bouquet
in his memory. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like that. If you look at the
like a vignette.
No, if you look at the lights, any lights and any the leaves in the trees, they're sort of like slightly out of focus, and the way that the lens is they've got like a little shape to it. Google bouquet, BOKEH.
All right, I'll do that. I'll do that right now.
Right.
Bo. I just typed in bucket.
Yeah, that'll do.
Keeping up appearances.
Okay. So basically, the tree is like everything is slightly just out of focus, a little bit blurry, and the way that the lenses has made it get these little lights, giving them a shape.
Is it like chromatic aberration?
No. That's where it's sort of got a tiny little rainbowy type thing. I'll find a picture and I will show you. But regardless, it looks very dreamy, and it's like his memory. Like, I noticed it and I thought, oh, that looks really cool.
It's better than just having like a memory, a series of memory shots just being like in sepia or something, like a flashback sequence. Looked a lot nicer than that shit.
That reminds me of Feeders too, actually. I hate
Jesus
I hate
fucking
that
Christ.
I know, I hate that I'm even referencing that.
I'm going to
but
lose my mind
it's
just thinking about that
the
piece
whole-
of shit.
what was it, 6 minutes of flashback in that sepia tone?
I just could not believe just how long the flashback was in that fucking film. But we have an important sequence of someone breaking into where the car is being kept. They got dredged out of the creek. Someone breaks into it and fucks around with the evidence, but we hear, as they're walking, the whirring sound. There's that that weird sound as he's walking by. Very odd. Wonder what that could be.
No, wait, no, what?
Jack, when he was recording and he was picking up like the frogs, the leaves, the owl, he heard a whirring sound.
Okay.
And we couldn't see what was causing it. We also see someone run off as well. We see someone from under the bridge run away as he goes to save the person, save her, Sally. But as the guy is going to fuck with the evidence of the car that's been dredged up, we hear the whirring sound, that same whirring as he's walking down the dark street.
Right.
So we know it's the same guy
Right.
that was under the bridge.
I did hear throughout the film like weird out of place noises, like some sort of film within a film type thing where it sounded like a cassette was being whirred up or rewinded or something in various points. But that was obviously intentional. That's what I thought the twist was going to be at the end, because you were like, whoa, the ending is such whiplash, and I thought it was going to be like a film within a film or something.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, that would have been interesting, but
yeah, I thought that was.
That's not where it goes. Yeah, later on, we do see what causes the whirring noise.
Yeah.
Do we? Because I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit tired. Well, yeah, you can explain it to me later.
The watch.
Oh, the watch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Basically, he has a garroting wire, like a fidget toy. His watch actually has like a wire that he uses to garrot.
And I think he might be autistic, and he needs to like stim. That's what it's called?
Yeah,
stimming. So he plays with his garroting thing just to keep himself busy, and I think he enjoys the sound. And fair play to him.
It's fun.
Killers need hobbies.
I'm going to skip forward a little bit. We discover that there's a man called Manny, who is Dennis Franz from NYPD Blue and other Brian De Palma films. He filmed the car accident with his video camera, but he sold the rights to a tabloid magazine instead of sending it to the police because he wanted the money. In a real scum move. And he's a real dick about it. Like, they're interviewing him somewhere outside. Someone's, cornered him. He's like, I want the police. They weren't going to fucking give me, $3,000. They go fuck themselves. Basically says shit like that.
Yeah.
So Jack rushes out and buys a copy of this magazine, News Today magazine. Meanwhile, he's supposed to be helping with auditions for a girl that can scream better than the one that they have on camera.
I totally.
They want to capture.
Oh my god!
They want to capture Foley of a girl doing a good scream to fix this movie, to make it one of the best horror movies ever. They need a real good scream.
Forgot about that damn
a great scream.
Oh, Simon, I totally forgot about that fucking awful scream from the beginning of the film. So bad, dude. So
I didn't hear
bad.
her. I didn't hire her for a scream. I hired her for her titties. Is that what the director says? He says something like that.
I mean, that's what your average Hollywood director probably would say, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. So Jack takes the magazine. He cuts out the stills, and there's a lot of these stills that they've captured from the footage, the video footage. Cuts all these pictures out and uses a rostrum camera to take photos of these grainy stills. And obviously the idea is that he's going to create a film out of this by piecing together frame by frame these shots from the magazine.
Yes.
And it's very clever. It's obvious what he's doing, and
Flip book.
it's impressive. Yeah, so he does a little flip book to see how it works. But yeah, he takes pictures with the rostrum camera, so he has it on film. Oh, and he meets up with Sally at the bar or whatever, right? And she's got a train in like 20 minutes, and they have a really weird conversation. First of all, she says that her no makeup look that she currently has on, because she is a professional makeup artist, she wants to do it. Or at least she wants to be.
2 hours,
right?
Apparently.
It took her 2 hours to do her no makeup look.
That made me so angry.
And then Jack is just like a real man, and he says, do you know how you can make it look like you've got like a broken nose? Which is a really weird thing to say on like a first date? Question mark.
The thing is, he was was it this bit where he's like, "You're not lying to me, are you?" Like when she was saying that, I've got to go. I'll meet you somewhere. And he's like, "Yeah, you're not lying though, are you? Right? Like that's the sort of thing that I fucking hate when. If you're trying to get out of something, like you're in a position where a bloke is hitting on you and they cannot take a hint.
Let the woman have the out. Let her have the out.
They cannot take the hint. And he's like, yeah, you better not be lying to me. And then, like, if you give him a fake phone number and he tries to call your phone to make sure that it's...
This isn't fake, is it? You haven't given me a bullshit number. Yeah. Let me just check it here, right in front of you, before you leave.
Scary shit. Like, that I was like, oh, God, he's being a bit forceful.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even when she was sedated and like off her tits, he was like, "Hey, John Travolta," and he's like coming on to her. I'm like, this is really the time or the place to be hitting on her.
It was the 80s.
It was acceptable in the 80s.
We get a little bit of backstory about Jack. Don't really need to go too much into it, but he was a tech nerd as a kid. He joined the army, and then he worked for like an anti-corruption probe thing, a commission for the police. And he would like wire up people, so they would be wearing a wire, like in the TV series The Wire, almost. So you have a secret microphone under your shirt.
Thought that was about a tightrope.
Oh my God, Sophie! And he tells a story about how it all went wrong when a guy that was wearing a wire to find out about a corrupt police captain, he was sweating so much the battery pack started arcing, so it started burning him. The electrical current was burning into his body, and basically the guy runs off to fix it in a bathroom, and a guy follows him and kills him, and Jack discovers the body.
Using the wire from the audio device to hang him, which was
fucked.
Yeah, real fucked.
And there's a great scene where Sally goes to a fish market. She's walking at night through a fish market, and someone's following her, and they grab an ice pick. And you know that it's bad. It feels real bad. Sally, of course, wearing her distinctive big weird coat that was it Anne Roth designed, presumably.
Shout out to Anne Roth.
Yeah, shout out Anne Roth.
She's got a big curly hair, blonde curls.
So I was saying, like, when she got, the accident happened and she obviously, was underwater and her hair, and she wakes up in the hospital bed, her hair's got these perfect locks, these perfect curls in them.
She has amazing hair. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm just like, there's no fucking way. Like, she would not look that. She looked like a very, upkept.
She's a makeup artist.
I know, but after an accident,
she fixed her hair. Using nothing but was in the hospital room while she was heavily sedated.
Well, this trails on to the other plot point of the film, which I won't say right now. But anytime I'm like, wait, is that Sally? Wait, is that Sally?
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of women with big 80s hair that look similar to her.
Yeah.
And let me tell you,
deliberately,
my face blindness was going mad.
No,
oh my God.
I was having a rough time of it because I was like, wait, what?
So let me explain what happens. So a guy that's stalking Sally manages to strangle her. We hear the whirring sound of the garrote. he strangles her. They fall down. They roll down into like where like a building's being built or destroyed or something. And he goes to like stab her, and he sees that it's not Sally. It's someone else that looks just like her with the same hair, wearing the same kind of coat. And he knows that he's fucked up. And what he later does is he kills a series of women that look similar to Sally to cover the eventual murder of Sally that he's going to do. So he's setting up like there's a serial killer that goes after a particular kind of looking woman.
Oh, I thought he just kept getting it wrong.
Which is why all these women look very similar.
Oh my fucking god. Gee, that's even better.
I honestly thought he kept getting it wrong. I can't. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, I wish it was that. I wish he was just shit at what he does and he just kept getting the wrong girl.
Well, he fucks up the first time. The first time he fucks up.
Yeah.
But then he changes
this is why
what he's doing.
G didn't like it quite as much because she didn't have any idea what the fuck was going on half the time.
Maybe. So the killer is John Lithgow. Can you believe it?
What?
From
No way.
Third Rock from the Sun. Family guy, happy dad, alien.
Buckaroo.
Banzai Buckaroo.
Oh my god.
Buckaroo Banzai.
With his
these
weird
early roles.
Italian
Psycho.
accent.
Oh my god, that accent! Fuck me. So bad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
God. So yeah, it's he kills the wrong woman, but then he sets up that there's a serial killer killing similar women, and then
So the first one was
Sally.
a mistake. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right. Gotcha.
Because if he could have just killed Sally straight away, it would have been like, job done. All my ends have been tied up, my loose ends.
Yeah.
Because basically he has a phone call with someone who is basically he set him up to do a job, and he was like, you was only supposed to take pictures of you once, you weren't meant to shoot him. So basically, he fucked up that as well.
Mm.
And
But
he
he
was
is
like,
a psychopath
he
that
got the-
enjoys killing.
He got
so...
it. Yeah. He was like, well, I mean, we got what we wanted. He's out of the race, isn't he? So basically, it was somebody trying to get him out of the presidential race.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the
Yeah.
and he was like, right, listen, I've got a plan. I'm going to cover it up. I'm going to tie up all the loose ends. Say that it was just that was an accident, and I just like killing sex workers.
It's a pretty good plan that John Lithgow has. His character's called Burke. He has a great plan.
And he's a book.
Yeah, he certainly is a Burke. Burke, of course, meaning like a tool, an idiot, a fool, a pillock, comes from Cockney rhyming slang.
Was it?
Yeah, from Berkshire Hunt. Bark, of course, is spelled Burke in Berkshire.
Yeah.
So of course, Berkshire
I
Hunt.
didn't know that.
Great.
Cunt. So I bet you there's that someone's gonna write a comment and say that's nonsense. That's not true.
We're in a bit of Barney rubble because he's a Berkshire Hunt.
Fuck. Oh my god. So yeah, Sally is still alive and well, and she's meeting up with Manny.
Ugh.
They're friends. They're working together. What the fuck?
Fucking Manny.
We have Jack in the great sequence of him. He's got the film footage from the rostrum camera shots of the stills from the magazine, and he has it in film format, and he syncs up the audio that he recorded. And
basically, he takes pictures of the little clips that he's got. He doesn't have the original film yet. He's just got the stills. So he has to make his own little thing.
He
has to make his own
recreates the film
film
footage.
Which is very clever. And I was thinking, imagine having to edit YouTube videos this way.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, would be a pain in the ass.
Would be.
That's why YouTube wasn't a thing back then, because it was just too difficult.
Yeah. So he syncs up the audio. So now he has the film footage with audio, with sound on it. So he can see that the car, there's a bang.
What happens at the point of the bang, Simon? It's a muzzle flash.
There's a muzzle flash. And he marks on the tape. I think he puts X for the bang and S for splash.
Yes.
Right? Is the
yes.
S? The S is for splash when the car hits the water. I was trying to figure out what S stood for.
I thought it was like X for when it hits the water and S for shot.
Oh, maybe I got it the wrong way around. Both of them kind of make sense.
Mm-hmm.
He's very clever and he hides it in the ceiling. He's like, ooh.
Yeah, he puts it
right next to a window. Yeah, right next to a window. Easily
visible from like the street below if you're looking up. It's the only apartment with the light on, and he's hiding this thing.
Yep.
Brilliant. Jack meets up with the asshole detective. I think it's the same one. And the guy isn't having it, and he's being a bit of a dick. And he says the words, "You put a lot of good cops away." He knows that he worked for the anti-corruption task force.
I love how these good cops that were done in by the anti-corruption thing. Sure, Jen. Yeah, these good cops that are so good. No way would they. Yeah.
Yeah, not good, is it? Not good.
Wanker.
Jack has to leave the footage with the guy for evidence, even though they're just going to basically hide it and make it go away.
He said that, and he was like, right, well, I'll see you fucking later then, mate. And he said, if you take that, I'm going to put you in jail for withholding evidence. So he basically has no choice.
What a fucking dick.
Yeah. He has a picture of the Pope on his like pinboard as well as the cop, and I'm like, what?
He's a Catholic.
Right. So he has a poster of the Pope up on the wall to kiss. What is?
I don't think that's what Catholics do, but I don't know that that's not what they do.
I don't know enough about Catholics.
I don't know much about Catholicism.
Are you talking about the guy that he takes the footage to, his like boss or whatever? Yeah, because he's got
the detective.
The detective is because there's a little piece of paper under like a light, and it's got Pope John Paul II, and it's got like, I guess, a verse from something he said, and then there's like a picture of the Pope behind that little screen as well. So
isn't that weird?
Very
isn't
weird.
That fucking weird?
It's really weird.
I'm sure there's a reason for it. I have to ask Brian De Palma.
Sure.
Brian.
So there is literally a conspiracy, and Burke is a hitman going around killing people. So yeah, Jack and Sally are very much in danger here. We discover in this really weird interaction, Jack goes to where Manny's staying, and the guy at the desk, he just has these photos on him right now of Sally in bed with the governor, right? And he shows them to Jack. And it's like, why does he have these photos?
I had a theory at this point in the film. I thought that was a policeman. And Jack had gone there and he was like, well, he was giving these photos out to everyone. And he did work in divorces. So basically, Manny and Sally would set up men and bribe them, or basically implicate them that they are cheating on their wives. And he said,
men.
And he said, okay, where is it? Where did I write this down? Some baby picture under his bed. And I was thinking, is this man a paedophile? Like, what the fuck does that line even mean?
I don't know, because it was the 80s. So...
And I thought he'd been arrested for taking pictures of kids and hiding them under his bed.
I have whiplash. What the
that's not what happened.
No, I know, but I was just like, what?
I was confused about who the guy even was. So you think he was a cop? I thought he was like the receptionist, commissar, or whatever.
Well, the guy wearing a cop uniform.
Why was he wearing that weird hat, though?
I thought it was a police hat.
Is that the hat that cops wore in the 80s?
Are you talking about
I feel
the
like I'm
scene
high.
Are you talking about the scene where he walks across like 3 bridal shops and then eventually walks into one bridal shop and then there's a guy that I thought was a cop inside the bridal shop.
I don't think it was a bridal shop.
It was a bridal shop.
Right.
The only reason why I know is because the scene starts with him walking across...
That makes even less sense!
It starts with him walking across the strip, and I swear to God, there are like 3 bridal shops right next to each other.
That's crazy. It's like shoe shops. They're always like gathered together, aren't they?
Maybe back in the day. Oh, actually, no, it kind of happens now a little bit too. But I think back in like those times, it was definitely more prominent.
I'm glad I wasn't the only person that was a bit confused by this. So what's our current theory? That it's a guy that works in a bridal shop, and Manny rents the apartment above, and maybe in lieu of rent, he gave the guy the pictures. Or, no, because he said he found them under his bed. What was he doing going through? Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm confused.
That's why I thought he was a policeman that had rumbled him for something.
It doesn't make sense. This one scene, this is the real mystery of the film.
Where is this set, by the way?
I don't know. Jack just walks into a place.
No, the city.
Oh. Wherever the Liberty Bell is. Where's the Liberty Bell?
I can't tell if it's meant to be like a fictional, like Chicago or fictional...
Philadelphia.
Oh.
I guess it must be Philadelphia.
Definitely walks into a bridal shop. G is right. And then there is carp photos, weddings, portraits. So basically his studio is based in this bridal shop. And he says, it's Mr.
That
Carpin.
makes sense now. So that's where he would develop the photos that he took and the footage that he took.
And I think that that's a policeman.
Right.
But I'm actually thinking it's just a security guard because he's got a name tag instead of... He's got a badge. He's got like a...
I didn't think he was a policeman, you know. There's the hat he's wearing.
Yeah, that's a police hat. Like, that's the kind of hat that American police officers wear.
Fuck.
Oh
my God, I've got to watch more 80s cop movies, clearly.
Watch Maniac Cop. That's the only one. He offered me $1,000. Right, so I could have made a lot of dollars of collars. He says I could have made a lot of collars today, which is basically... He says, too bad there's no law against lying. I could have made a lot of collars today because he's saying that they're breaking the law if they were lying.
Right.
And he'd like to pick up his pictures. And he's saying, he's basically
raided. A lot of time on this scene.
Yeah, well, listen, no, it's important to work it out, what's going on.
It is, yeah.
He's basically, like, raided the entire studio. And I'm guessing it's to get rid of these pictures of him.
Right. Because it's a conspiracy.
Because it's a conspiracy. They're trying to cover it up. They know that they somehow know that this man has pictures of the governor with Sally. So he's like...
And this cop shows the photos of Sally in bed with the governor.
So just some random person that's walked in as well, by the way.
Yeah, and you think this would end the guy's career, then they didn't have to kill him. Surely the photos would have been enough. But Burke's just wants to fucking murder people.
I think, well, no, basically, Burke was hired to cause an accident to then, like, make it be like, oh my God, he's had an accident with a stripper in the car, with a sex worker in the car.
And that's more of a scandal than just having these photos leak. They would be on top of it.
No, here you go. Wait for it.
Right.
Because Burke had hired Carp to take the photos. Because Sally...
I don't know if we know that.
No,
for sure.
we do. Well, somebody. It was the guy who was working with Burke. You know, the guy that said, "Hey, Burke, I need you to cause an accident," because Sally goes to Carp and says, "So who hired you to do this job?" It wasn't just them just having a laugh.
Ah, right. Yeah.
He was like,
oh my God.
He was paying us like $6,000 for this. He's a big time guy. You know, so there was a reason behind all. It does tie together. They weren't just kind of doing it.
It's right after the scene where Jack's showing the photos that we have Burke on the phone to that guy.
Yes. Yeah.
And he speaks very kind of like clinically.
He's very
He
flat.
says that he decided to exceed the parameters of his authority somewhat.
Yeah.
By shooting the fucking car, I guess.
I always stayed within an acceptable margin of error, he says.
Yeah, it's weird way of speaking.
And he's
he
never
has.
met this guy as well. Like, he's just saying, like,
Yeah.
So I think that he was meant to cause an accident, to
Not kill the fucking
not
guy.
kill him.
Yeah.
But he's like, well, I mean, job done anyway.
In for a penny.
You know,
Yeah.
Task failed successfully, sort of thing. He fucking did it in the end. So it does all tie together, and that man is a policeman. And I was wondering whether that's another reason why they raided.
It does make more sense now, because this scene did not make sense to me before, but now it does.
It's one of those things that you kind of have to look quite closely at in some respects.
Yeah.
Or watch it multiple times and stuff.
It's the next scene where Jack goes back to his studio.
Yes.
And he discovers that not only is the recording of the accident scrubbed clean, but every single one of his tapes is now erased.
I thought you were going to talk about the two girls in the recording booth that they're trying to get the perfect scream.
The perfect scream.
The perfect scream. And basically one's pulling the other's hair and shaking her around while one's screaming. He's like, this isn't working, switch. So he gets the other one to pull their hair and scream. And it's like these girls are just having a great time. It's like he's just doing it to watch girls pull each other's hair and screaming, because they're kind of crap at it.
Yeah.
And then he goes up to his studio and he's like, oh, fuck all of me. Bugger. I've taped over it.
Years of work and the evidence, everything has been erased by some sort of magnetron or something,
well,
right? That's what
so
it's called.
He had, did you see in the car boot when Burke was like, initially he was going to go change out the tyre?
Fucking way.
Did you
Chekhov's magnetron.
Yeah, he had a big thing in his boot saying magnetic tape. So I don't know.
Insane.
That was something I noticed the first time around, which I'm quite impressed at myself with.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Magnetic tape eraser. He literally has a magnetic tape eraser in the car boot, spare tyre. It's so... It knows what it's doing, does this film.
Yeah.
It's dumb. And it's like front and centre. It's in front of the tyre, the spare tyre.
I love that when everything has been erased, Jack is like... He's quite upset. And he asked the receptionist lady, has anyone been in my office today? And she's like, yeah, there was some random guy. He said he wanted something. And he's like, who? Who is this guy? And she's like, I don't like the tone of your voice. And she just walks away. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. All of his work has been erased.
These people aren't professionals, except for Jack. Like, nobody is really a big time anything. The receptionist doesn't give a shit. It's not as if they had any levels of security, because it just wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. And so obviously the tape that he gave the detective also got erased at some point.
Well, the detective said it was blank, so it was done before he even gave...
Yeah.
Unless he was just saying
And it's great
shit.
that we don't see that, actually. We don't see John Lithgow just, creep into the office.
Running big magnets over everything.
Yeah, all happens off camera. Maybe they shot that, but they edited it out. I don't know.
When I was a kid, right, I was told off so many times for playing with the fish tank cleaning magnets too near the telly and too near the tapes.
Oh, my God.
Because it made pretty colours on the telly. Magnets, because it obviously disrupts the electrons.
That feels quite on brand for you, honestly.
Do you want to know something else that I wrote down that I remembered? So right at the beginning, where Jack is listening through his tapes and stuff, he's listening through his sound effects, and he's listening to one of Thunder. And I used to listen to sound effects tapes with my friends, and one of the ones that we used to put on.
Are you Father Dougal Maguire from Father Ted.
I still have some nice sound effects records and stuff. BBC sound effects of monster sounds.
Listening to owls hooting.
I've got a British birds one, but the one that we used to put on was like thunder, and we'd make my dad turn it up really, really loud, and me and my friend Jennifer would scream.
Do you know what? I do have a question here that I was going to ask at some point. Say you're auditioning for the role of being the Scream in the movie. Can you give me a great scream?
You won't be able to hear it.
Well, it'll be in the episode because you're recording locally.
G lives in a place with probably very thin walls, and she doesn't want the police called on her.
Yeah, it happens too much anyway.
I don't want to scare the cats. So no, I'm not screaming for you. Although I did actually get a message from a musician that I know saying, "Can you scream on my record?" And I never fucking got back to him. I'm really sorry. So maybe I'll just do some screams for him. And
that's what it's like being a woman on the internet. You just get men asking you to scream. And I'm complicit in this.
He's a musician I admire. I like his music. So it's not
as opposed
totally
to Simon,
weird.
who I don't admire.
Fucking wow.
Simon, if you were saying, Bouphe, can you scream on my record that's going to go out and people can listen to it and it's a fun song, I'd be like, yeah, sure. But Simon asking me to scream while breathing very heavily down the microphone, girls, can you give us your best scream?
I need to hear you screaming. And can you say Harder Daddy as well?
Oh my God.
It's for a project I'm working on. A record. Yeah, I'm making a record. Yeah. Just need to hear that.
Oh, Christ.
Anyway, the local news anchor.
Yes.
Local news anchor Frank Donahue shows up at
Hi,
Jack's
I'm Frank
studio.
Donahue.
Hi, I'm Frank Donahue. He wants to interview Jack and wants to show whatever footage or audio he has and interview him and have everything just out there. And Jack kind of he's not that interested in it, but later on he will be, because he realizes that if this is all out in the open, then maybe that will stop people trying to like kill him. But to start with, he's not really up for it. Jack explains to Sally that, again, for like, I think the fifth time, he says, this wasn't an accident. It wasn't a blowout. And he says that he saw the photos of her with the governor, and he needs that original footage from Manny, and he knows that she's working with him. And if they do go public, then they won't be loose ends that will be like disappeared if everything's out in the open. Yeah,
because nobody, if everybody knows and then they disappear, if they're on telly and then suddenly they turn up dead, then people will know.
Yeah.
So basically, he's like ensuring his safety in that respect.
So Sally has to go and visit Manny to try and get the footage from him, and Manny is just the biggest fucking piece of shit. He's like drinking from a bottle of liquor. He's having a piss with the door wide open, talking to her, and then he doesn't wash his hands afterwards.
Disgusting.
And then he like forces himself on her, and Sally's forced to defend herself by smashing his head in with the bottle of liquor.
And also, like, you've held a bottle of liquor before? You know how hard and heavy those bottles are. The weak sort of hit that she gives him is just hilarious.
I don't know how that knocked him out.
It didn't.
Honestly.
It is, and the bottle broke and everything. Unless she has some kind of incredible superpower, which she doesn't.
Yeah. No, because she's just a woman.
She's a woman. You can't fucking do anything.
But yeah, Sally then steals the original footage he recorded. Oh, we get a little scene of John Lithgow, Burke, doing his weird phone call to like the police, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to kill her. Oh, it all got out of hand, and she's dead. She's in a hole somewhere."
Talking about the prostitute
really weird.
He murdered earlier.
Yeah, the one he thought was Sally, but now he's setting up him playing the role of serial killer. He's leaving this clue for the police. They'll discover the body. So it's all being put into motion. And we also have Jack on the phone, and we learn that it's being wiretapped in the basement. Fucking Burke is listening in and recording it. And he knows that this news reporter wants to interview Jack and Sally. Oh, another thing is that after he killed that woman that wasn't Sally, he stabbed her in the shape of the Liberty Bell, presumably on her chest. And when he was stabbing her, there was like a pealing sound of a bell, which was weird at the time. I was like, why can I hear a bell? That doesn't make sense. But then later we discovered that he was stabbing the shape of a bell into her. So now that bit made sense to me.
And it's all around this Liberty Bell celebration and
the Jubilee.
Yeah, it's been 100 years since the Liberty Bell last rang, so they're having a big parade and everything's great. And that was the sort of ball where the senator was, the governor was, when he met up with Sally.
It's really, the Liberty Bell is such a weird thing. I don't really know that much about it. All I know is that it's got a big crack in it.
Yeah.
But I think they repaired it and it was going to ring out on this Jubilee for the first time in 100 years.
I don't know, Americans are weird.
Bells is weird.
Bells is weird, man.
Yeah. So Burke phones up Sally, putting on a voice to sound a bit like Frank Donahue. I'm trying to sound American when I'm saying his name. Donahue.
Sally has never spoken to Frank Donahue, so it doesn't matter. She's never seen him. She's never spoken to him. So he's just sort of
she's
putting
never watched
on his
telly.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Frank Donahue.
Donahue?
But it's not. It's Burke. And he wants to meet up with her and get the tape off of her. She visits Jack first, though, which was a good decision, because otherwise she could have ended up dead.
Yeah. He was waiting for a phone call from Donahue himself, but Donahue hasn't been able to get through because Burke put a block on his phone line so that he could phone up Sally instead and be like, oh, I can't get through to him. His line's engaged. What a shame. So basically giving him this plausible deniability and say, look, I don't know, man. So he was like... He's
clever, isn't he, Burke? He's a bastard.
But she did...
Clever.
He said, how did Frank get your number? And I didn't give it to him. So that's when he's thinking like, oh shit, maybe...
A little bit sus. So Donahue wants to meet her alone at the train station with the original film footage and the audio recording Jack made. These are like the only remaining copies that he stored up in the ceiling tile.
Well, I was writing down, oh my god, I hope he's making more copies of this shit, because this was after it'd been deleted and stuff, but he did say, she said like, oh, what if I just threw it out? And he said, I'd still have the original back. I'd still have a copy.
Yeah.
So he was making copies.
But he can only copy the audio and not the film footage before she has to meet Donahue. He doesn't have the time.
Right.
So she's going to go off with the only film footage that's remaining and a copy of the audio. So as a precaution, he wires her up. He hides the microphone under her clothes.
I wrote down, I hope she doesn't get really sweaty, because that wouldn't...
Last time, this didn't go well.
Yeah.
A guy fucking died. And we see Burke at the train station idly playing with his piano wire strangle watch device thing. We hear that whirring sound as he's fucking around with it. And he's listening to a hooker negotiating with a sailor about how long to suck him and his mates off or whatever.
I genuinely thought that was Sally again.
It's a woman that looks a lot like Sally, and I guess that's the point of the serial killer killing these women. Yeah. And you can see in his face, he wants to murder the fuck out of her. He is dying to fucking kill her. And this next scene is fucking hilarious. So I think they negotiate 30 minutes for $30.
It was 60 minutes for $60 at the start, and he was like, I've only got $20 for 20 minutes. And she's like, it's a shame you don't have $60 for 60 minutes. And he's like, I wish I had $60 for 60 minutes. They just keep saying
How
this
about $40 for 40 minutes? He eventually gets like another $10 from his sailor buddies because they want him to get sucked off. And they go into a phone booth. There's like, I think there's 4 phone booths. And they go into the right one. And, well, he goes into it and she's already waiting. He unzips and he literally comes after 20 seconds of her sucking him off.
But she is really fucking going for it.
20 seconds. Yeah, he's a slow down.
He's thrashing around. She's like, everything's shaking. It's like, what an incredible blowjob.
She says the line, "Some hotshot sailor you are. That's ridiculous."
Well, listen, sailors have been on a boat for ages.
I want a woman to say that to me if I come in 20 seconds. I'll be like, that's hilarious. I get that reference. Oh, my God.
Oh, fuck.
So Burke is watching from like the far left phone booth and he holds up like some money. But it doesn't matter because the hooker like goes off to brush her teeth.
Thank God.
So, yeah, between clients, that's only polite to do, isn't it?
Because she agrees, give me 5 minutes. And he's like, okay, 5 minutes.
But he follows her to the bathroom and strangles the fuck out of her.
It's very touch and go at the time because she hears little like noises and turns around, but she doesn't look up above her where he's sort of hanging out, waiting. He is. Yeah, waiting for her to turn her back to him so that he can lift her up by her neck and dangle her.
Horrible, isn't it? Fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Very bloody strong.
Yeah. Well, he's a tall, big man, is John Lithgow. He's a big man.
Mm.
And then Burke is suddenly all smiles in the role of Frank Donahue as he approaches Sally in the train station.
Wipes the blood off his shoes.
God. Jack, of course, is listening in his weird little Jeep car. It is a little Jeep.
I love that little Jeep.
Cars used to be much smaller, didn't they?
I love it.
They walk off before Jack can like catch up with them because he goes running after them.
He says,
changing location.
I think we're being followed.
Never go to a second location.
Yes.
Never. So yeah, Jack thinks that Burke as Frank Donahue isn't the danger, but this other mysterious person following them could be the danger.
Well,
which of course he's wrong about.
He thinks like he knows that something's off, and Burke knows that Jack will have followed them because he saw that she went to his house and he knows this stuff.
And of course Burke wants to get her to a quiet place so he can just fucking kill her and get it done. That's the entire point. To kill her, get the tapes, destroy the tapes, bosh, everything cleaned up. And they disappear like Sally says, you walk very fast. You're a fast walker. Jack is trying to discover where they are, but I think he hears the turnstile.
He does, yeah.
To the subway. And that makes him realize that they're going to the subway. They're not taking like an overground train.
Now, I wrote down in the little bit before this, did you notice that there was like loads of people wearing red? And I thought, Simon will mention the people in red representing like blood.
Communism.
Oh, communism.
Oh.
I thought you were going to get all like symbolic about it for some reason.
I assumed it because of like the Jubilee
It was,
thing.
yeah, but I thought you were going to be like, it's symbolism.
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry for letting you down.
Oh, G's going to let me down about the other thing I wrote down that she'd say.
Oh, what thing?
I'll say it at the end.
Okay. It's something about feet.
It's not about feet.
So Burke, he walks Sally along the platform to like where the tunnel starts, and he's about to fucking kill her. But there's a guy cleaning graffiti, and that man saved her life in that moment.
Thank you, man.
But thankfully, Sally cleverly says, Franklin Bridge Express, huh? So she lets Jack know, who's listening in, what train they're getting onto. But he's too late. The train departs before he can get on board.
Did the graffiti on the front of the subway train say fart, by the way?
I don't think they say fart in America. I think they say Trump. I think they say blowout.
Yeah.
We see the parade, the Liberty Bell Jubilee Day parade, and this is not a shooting the rodeo thing. This whole parade was planned and set up specifically for the film.
Amazing. But, you know...
Which is insane.
Jack didn't get on the train, so he has to get on in his tiny little Jeep and drive there. So off he goes.
And he drives through a bunch of red lights, drives through like a roadblock, drives right through the parade. It's lucky he didn't fucking kill a bunch of people.
He would have totally...
These days, this would be a terrorist attack and he would have been gunned down.
Right, so the fact... There was somebody playing a double bass in the parade. That is impossible. You know how big a fucking double bass is? Trying to walk with that strapped to you.
Yeah, they're like marching with it. Like...
Madness.
Maybe if it had wheels at the bottom.
And also, you won't be able to really hear that in a parade.
No.
Not unless there's like 20 of them. It's more like brass instruments because they've got like quite a good projection on them.
Yeah.
Stupid.
So this parade must have added to the budget massively. There was 11 cameras used to film it, 1,000 extras, 25 stunt drivers. They used vehicles from the Philadelphia Fire and Police Departments. There we are. It is Philadelphia. And they used a special helicopter-mounted camera rig that they brought in from Norway.
Wow.
So was it worth it for this, like, one sequence?
It's throughout
that lasts, like, a minute.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot, I guess. It is a build-up.
Yeah.
They do, like, breadcrumb it throughout the movie. The whole Liberty Bell thing.
I enjoy the bit where he drives into a shop front that has a man hanging there in a noose.
Oh.
Yeah, that was weird.
Like
that was very weird.
This shop is celebrating something by having a mannequin in a noose.
Yeah.
As well. Like,
America.
I know that it's relevant
they were
to the
hanging
film.
an Englishman.
Oh yeah, that's probably right. That makes it okay then, because to be fair, I mean, we deserve
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's relevant to the film
because
people are being strangled and being choked and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's very strange still.
So, yeah, this little Jeep, Jack just smashes it through the window of this shop and he's knocked unconscious. He's bleeding at the wheel. He could have just waited and taken the next train and maybe things would have been different.
You don't know how long that's going to be, though, because in some places, yeah, the trains are like every 2 minutes, like in London. But you don't know if that's the case everywhere.
We need to do some research on the frequency of subway trains
in Philadelphia
during the early 80s.
Yeah.
Gee, if you could just get on that. Figure that out. Jack comes to in the ambulance. It's nighttime.
Nobody's guarding this man that's just driven through.
There's no police anywhere. No. He just drove through a parade. He could have killed dozens of people. But no. Burke has walked Sally just God knows where now. They're by the river. He gets the tape off of her, just pulls it apart, and just throws it into the river. And Sally's like, what's going on? What are you doing?
Sally's not really very bright, is she? She's...
No. I think she's trusting, you know? And Burke then starts attacking her and dragging her around. And Jack, of course, can hear this commotion. And he hears Burke mention the fireworks, so he runs in the direction of the fireworks, which seems very vague, but somehow it's a good enough clue, I guess. There's a shot here which I am pretty fucking convinced that John Lithgow picks up a dummy that's wearing a wig like Nancy Allen's hair, because the way he's carrying her, it feels very much like a dummy.
But to be fair, when John Travolta
She's not moving?
When John Travolta was pulling her out of the car, her legs were all stiff like she was a dummy as well. And I was like,
Maybe that's just what
I think
Nancy
that's
Allen is. Maybe that's what Brian De Palma saw in her.
I didn't hire her for her acting. I hired her for her very stiff legs.
Oh my God. Of course, we hear Sally screaming as Burke's attacking her, and it's a really great scream. Jack somehow manages to reach Burke on like the top of a fucking building or platform or something with the Liberty Bell ringing, the fireworks going off, a giant flag, American flag behind them. He grabs the ice pick that he was going to stab Sally with, and he manages to kill Burke with it. And he goes to look down at the ground.
He does it like
Sally's just lying there.
He does it like in Ghost, where like he stands behind him and he's like guiding his hands and he just makes him stab himself. Like, there you go.
Like the pottery scene. Yeah.
There you go.
It is a bit like that.
In you go. And she's lying there. She's already been choked, so there's no.
She's fucking dead.
But instead of like calling for help, you know, on the off chance that she could be saved, he's just like.
He's sad with all the fireworks going off behind him.
It's very stressful.
And presumably he just leaves her body there because the news reports that Sally managed to kill this serial killer, the Liberty Bell killer, before succumbing to her injuries. No mention of Jack whatsoever.
Yeah. So
he just left her dead body there.
Well, I mean, I think that was a smart thing to do, honestly. Because the police already don't like him.
True. And then he knows that everything's being covered up, and if they want to get rid of him, they can just say that he was the serial killer or whatever, or he was complicit.
Yeah.
You know?
The thing,
and he already drove through the parade.
Yeah. The thing that I am, so this is happening right next to the Liberty Bell, and the Liberty Bell is being rung by two guys, and they're just like,
yeah,
can't stop ringing the Liberty Bell.
Can you hear a girl screaming?
No.
All I hear is a bit. No, the other guy go what? I said, can you hear a girl scream? What? Oh, never mind.
Stop ringing the bell. I can't hear you.
They're going to have terrible tinnitus after this night.
Oddly, oh my God. I've got some facts for you.
Oh, go on.
Well, when I was watching this, I got tinnitus and went deaf in one ear.
Oh my God.
It was near the beginning and I was like, fucking hell, what's happened here? And I was jiggling my ear around and it was just, my hearing was gone and it gradually came back. But yeah.
I mean, right before we started recording, I blew my nose and my left ear was blocked for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's all very appropriate, isn't it?
It's all very, very appropriate.
So, to wrap this up, Jack is listening back to the tape from The Wire Sally was wearing, and he'd recorded it all. He recorded her screaming as she was being murdered, and they used that final scream of hers in the shit movie that we saw right at the start with the girl that couldn't scream. Sally's scream is overlaid on top of her. And it sounds great. Jack.
She did want to be in movies.
Says it's a good scream.
He's crying.
Scream. Yeah, and
he's crying as he says that, and the director's saying more on the screen. Give him more on the screen, and he's covering his ears, going.
It's so fucked up, and that's the end of the film. That's how it ends, and that's why I thought, gee, make sure you watch something nice after this because it's a bit of a downer ending.
No, I didn't feel much, honestly. I'll be real with you.
She felt nothing at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, our final thoughts. Sophie, would you like to go first, as this was your pick?
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful shots and an interesting plot, and it felt a little crushed and lackluster at the end, but that might just be because of the ending. You know, looking back, I think, actually, you know, it works. It's fine. It was great, and it was worth paying £2.99 to rent it on Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did write down, G will like this, and maybe mention how Travolta looks like Jake Gyllenhaal in Night Stalker, which I guess was kind of influenced by this, but back to front.
I do like that film. Yeah, it's
right.
Similar. Yeah, I get what you meant by that.
Like the way that his hair is and the way that he dresses, and I just feel like there's
I do like an unhinged
Long-haired man.
long-haired man.
I know. I feel like there's a lot of parallels in it in a way.
No, I say that with like, I'm not even joking.
No, I'm not
I do
joking.
like
It's fucking
unhinged.
great. This was the most down to earth role I felt John Travolta has played, and it's a fucking stupid fucking film.
It's probably one of the more realistic Brian De Palma movies as well, I would say.
But I gave it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Shall I go next, and then we can hear G shitting on it? I also gave this 8 out of 10. I love Brian De Palma from Phantom of the Paradise to Snake Eyes, pretty much. Had solid run of films. It is really good to watch John Travolta like at his peak, just being amazing. Just to remind you how good he actually was. Because if you watch like Battlefield Earth and that nonsense, you're like, Jesus Christ. Or when he's playing Moose in that weird film. Oh God.
What weird film? What?
He's like a stalker with like a mental disability.
Oh
and
my
it's
God, I forgot all about that. Holy shit.
That crazy thing. I think this film's got it's a really tight plot about a conspiracy. I think it's just complicated enough. Obviously, there were a few things that I didn't entirely catch, even on my second viewing of it now. I think I've only watched this once before. I think Brian De Palma does a good sort of crossover of movies that are like almost Hitchcock thrillers. This one not so Hitchcock inspired compared to a lot of his other films. But it's also got a bit of like exploitation horror in it. And of course there's the themes of voyeurism that he does well. And Jack Terry is actually a pretty competent and smart protagonist.
Yeah.
I feel like he does most things like the right way. He makes good calls. He tries to figure out what's going on. He tries to like cover his ass and look after people. He's not an idiot.
No.
And obviously the scene where he's putting the stills together and recreating the footage, that was very smart. That's amazing. I think if my first viewing, I probably would have rated it higher than 8 because it was really impactful, especially the ending. Really got to me, the ending of it. I was like, oh my God, that like just him in the cinema with Sally Scream in this shit movie. Just a brutal fucking ending. I loved it. But second time around, it's not quite as impactful as it was. So yeah, a real solid, decent movie. G-Star Games.
I don't know. There's like, it's one of those movies where I like elements of it, but like together, it doesn't quite hit the mark for me. It felt like a roller coaster that had the incline, and then it had the drop, and it's like, oh, this is interesting. I kind of like the premise. The cinematography's great. The audio is fantastic. The set, everything, so much worked. It had so much going for it. But after that first drop of thrill, it was just a very sort of like steady pace with a couple of swerves. And I just was like, because it's a mystery thriller. And I'm like, is the mystery in the room with us right now? Like, I don't understand what is so sort of mysterious about this in certain aspects. Like, yeah, there were things that I didn't like sort of clock onto like straight away, but it just fell flat for me. But
I guess we do know that there's a conspiracy and a murder right from the start.
Exactly. So I guess for me, I'm just like, I guess because we know so early on, and I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it just doesn't, and I'm like, okay, what am I waiting for?
Reference. Yeah,
of course. And I'm just like waiting for this thing to happen. But I don't know if it's because you said that thing about the last like 10 minutes of the film, or maybe I was waiting for like a twist. I mean, it is kind of a twist in a way.
Waiting for something bigger, maybe.
But yeah, I think so. I was expecting more of a impact, more of a punch, more of a deeper conspiracy, and it just doesn't land that at all. And it's a shame because there's a lot of really good things going for it. It just ends up being a nothing sandwich for me.
Would you have liked John Lithgow to just like peel off his face?
No.
And he's like an alien.
I think she's saying that she would have at least liked to have seen some kind of justice as well. Maybe.
It just, I guess, because, yeah, there's like, it's all about a conspiracy, a political conspiracy, and it's just very obvious from the beginning, I guess. And maybe because I feel like there's no element of mystery, really. So I'm just like waiting for something to happen, and it just never does.
You like
but there are some
Columbo, because like Columbo,
yeah.
you know who's done it from the start, and you know what's going on.
Well, I'd like more mystery with my mystery,
Right.
basically. Like, is what I'm...
You like to be guessing along with the characters.
Yes.
Rather than... I mean, the way that it evolved for me personally is that we were sort of finding out with the characters, because this didn't go the way that was initially planned for the guys that did it. So they were like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do? I'm going to make it look like I'm murdering prostitutes to cover this up. So it was like, it was more realistic in a way, because it wasn't,
I get that.
It was
more grounded.
Yeah, it was more grounded. It was like more real life, like, well, nothing actually fucking ever goes the way you want it to, and life's just gone back to normal. He can't tell anybody about this.
Justice has not been done.
Justice has not been done. Nobody found
away
out.
with it.
Nobody found out about Sally. She was just another murdered prostitute to everybody else. Nobody found out who did that. Nobody found out that this was a death, like a murder. Nobody found out anything, and life's just gone back to normal, and he's just crying to himself about it because...
Well, I mean, he's the sort of... I feel like, he's the making of this situation, though. He brought about all of this when they were like, just get her, leave the hospital, and get the fuck out of here. He could have very well left it alone, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the process, a lot of people died. And, and at one point in the movie, he's like, if they can get away with this, and the guy's like, who's they? Who the fuck are you talking? Who's they? Like, what? Like, there's just no... I understand.
It sounds like you're victim blaming. And you're defending the people behind the conspiracy.
I'm not, because
G-Star
the thing is, though, there's this political assassination conspiracy. I get it, but at the same time, it's just it does not. There's no punch, and it's because of the lack of mystery, the lack of there are certain elements that they reveal throughout the film, but they're not enough for me to go, ooh, didn't see that coming, or whatever. I guess I just wanted more revelations, more revealing, and there was just too much laid bare too early on for me to
it was quite
feel invested.
A steady pace of it as well, so you didn't actually get that sort of like excitement from it, because it was very gradually unfolding in that sense as well. So you knew bits, and then the bits sort of gradually appeared, and then it wasn't like, bam, here's a fucking bit of truth for you bastards. It wasn't like that. It was sort of like a gradual unveiling of plot
of plot and things. But like I said, I love the costumes, the fucking film, like the cinematography, the filmography, the sound. It had so much going for it. Like, wow.
Damn.
Just wow. But like the fucking plot just... Whew.
Damn.
Yeah, it was all right. Nothing to...
Tell us how you really feel. Brian De Palma, if he's listening to this, he's in tears right now.
Well, I mean...
He's in tears.
No offense, but it didn't do well for... I mean, I don't know, but for what reason didn't it do well in the box office? And a lot of people think...
Well, I do have a reveal for that.
Oh.
The the downer ending really fucked with the box office. There was a lot of word of mouth that it was very bleak.
People hated it.
In the ending. And people didn't want to watch it.
What was the other film where someone was told to change the ending of it and they fucking didn't? Rambo, yeah. People.
Was it Rambo?
Well, people hated sad endings.
Yeah, because they were supposed to kill him at the end, and they did a test screening. And,
oh my God.
And they were like, no, they didn't like that. So they changed it, and he survived in the end.
And then we got all the wonderful sequels.
See, this is it. Like, test screen audiences and the general public could be like, well, I want everything to be tied up nice and neat in a little bow. So
I want the bad guy to go to prison or die. I want the good guy to get like a medal and get the girl.
Yeah, and also that's not me saying like, because life doesn't always have happy endings.
No.
Situations don't always have happy endings, and I get that. And I wasn't looking for a happy ending in this film.
Sometimes it doesn't work in cinema, does it? Like,
there's something about maybe the pace and the delivery of why it just did not land, because I do kind of like the ending. Like, in the end, they still win, and people like Sally do get fucked over, no matter how much you try to serve out justice. And yeah, it's like I said, it's a poetic ending, because her scream was used in the end, because it's the process of filmmaking, and the main characters, he's examining the sound, is trying to connect the pieces with the sound and the photographs, the crime scene. It was engaging up until a certain point.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair enough. People entitled to their opinion. We all have different tastes. We all want different things from film, and that's fair enough. G.
That's why they make different films, because if everybody had the same taste in film, it would be
there'd be nothing but Marvel movies forever.
exactly.
6.
6. Sure, that's going down in the dock. Do we have any interesting bits of trivia that you might have found? Quick one here. The film's tagline was "Murder has a sound all of its own." Which I thought was nice. Really nice. Because it references to like the sound of the the gunshot, and also her scream at the end. It's, clever.
Nancy Allen. Did you notice she was wearing a little rabbit's foot all the time?
I did.
Oh God,
yeah,
I did.
She wore it so that it was as if her character was superstitious about things.
Which doesn't really tie into anything.
It doesn't, but
really,
it's kind of ironic that she's just really unlucky to be.
She wore something around her neck as like protection, but she actually got garroted. That's kind of ironic. The actress in the shower scene at the beginning of the film who has the terrible scream, she was played by Missy Cleveland, Playmate of the Month, April 1979. So we got the Playboy girl with her tits out.
Which is standard for that kind of movie that they were making.
Yeah. Spot on, isn't it? Absolutely spot on.
I wrote down some of the names of the posters that they had up as well. There was let me see. So they had Squirm, the Boogeyman, Without Warning, The Incredible Melting Man. They had, where was it? I wrote down so many because I was like, this is so cool. Lure of the Triangle. That's a porn. Empire of the Ants. Have you seen the poster for Lure of the Triangle? It's fucking great.
Is the triangle the hair of a vagina?
Yeah, the ship coming out of her pants.
Nice.
Great.
That's nice.
So I enjoyed all the little movie posters in there.
Brian De Palma considered Al Pacino for the role of Jack Terry, he ultimately chose John Travolta, who himself lobbied De Palma to cast Nancy Allen for the role of Sally because they all worked together on Carrie. De Palma didn't want Nancy Allen because he was married to her and just didn't want her to be the actress that's in all of her husband's films. But he ultimately agreed to her being in it because John Travolta, I guess you don't say no to. And of course, we've got previous collaborators with De Palma. We've got the guy from NYPD Blue, who played Manny. John Lithgow, who was in Obsession and then Raising Cain. I think it was after this. The cinematographer, editor, and the composer all previously worked with Brian De Palma as well. So he had his crew and he just bashed out these cool films.
Quentin Tarantino said this was his favorite Brian De Palma movie.
Is it because there's feet on the poster?
Oh my God.
That's actually a good point, Bouphe. That's a very, very good point. He knows he's a man after his own heart.
He knows what he wants.
He knows what he wants, knows what he likes. So he cast John Travolta in Pulp Fiction because he liked his performance in this movie.
That's really cool.
So cool. This is one of Tarantino's top 3 films.
That's even more surprising.
Rio Bravo and Taxi Driver also on that list. And in homage, Tarantino used the music from this film, the Sally and Jack leitmotif?
Leitmotif?
Or was it leitmotif? So yeah, it was in the film Death Proof from the Grindhouse film.
Oh, cool.
One, I can't remember if it's the first or second one. Oh, the Anchorman, the Frank Donahue, was played by Dave Roberts, and no one knows who he is, but he was actually a weatherman in Philadelphia, and he is the father of Angel from Buffy.
What? That's amazing.
Jack mentions working on a film called Bordello of Blood, which is fictitious in this film, but it was actually a somewhat famous script that was going around Hollywood in the 70s, but it didn't actually get made until 1996. So it is a real film now, but when this film was made, it wasn't. Isn't that crazy? It was just this script that no one made that floated around for like 25 years.
That's brilliant.
And I guess, I'm sure it's really good, this film that took 25 years.
I haven't seen it, but I kind of want to.
I've heard of it.
I've got Food of the Gods. I'm looking at the other movies. The Incredible Melting Man. Trying to figure out what that one is. Because they're moving so fast. And I recognise the posters, but I can't quite tell. I know Without Warning, 100%. Oh well, this is just me going on about shit.
You're just listing things.
I'm just looking at what what the film posters are because I find this shit fascinating. I like it.
So the budget of this film was 18 million, but they spent an extra 9 million in marketing because they were so convinced this was going to be a big hit. And it wasn't. So it only made just under 14 million plus another 8 million in rentals, due to the word of mouth spreading about it having a horribly bleak ending and being a real downer of a film. The producers thought it was going to make like 80 million at the box office, so it fell pretty fucking short of that. Sadly. Yeah. So kind of a bomb, really. But it didn't kill Brian De Palma's career, thankfully.
It didn't kill anyone's career, which is great.
Well, I guess maybe it killed the career of that. There was an actress in it. Oh, Deborah Everton. She played the hooker that blowed the sailor in the train station. This was her only acting credit, but that's because she worked in like costumes and wardrobe. She wasn't an actress. They just needed a woman that looked a bit like Nancy Allen to suck off a sailor. Oh my God. I guess someone was like, oh, I know this woman. She looks a bit like Nancy Allen. She's got great hair. Do you think this would make a good video game, Blades?
No.
Oh, gee.
Poor
G.
No. I just don't see it.
G-Star game.
I think it would be an interesting way of trying to solve puzzles Like listening to things, like having something where you have to listen for clues as opposed to anything else.
Have you played Immortality by Sam Barlow?
I have not.
It is a game. I'm using that loosely. It's an interactive series of films.
Okay.
There was an actress who had a somewhat odd career. She was in only like 3 films. And you have footage from these 3 films, but they're not in chronological order. You have to use like keywords and clicking on the items in shot to then go to a different clip that might have the same item in it or something similar.
Right.
So you go between 3 different films in 3 different times, back and forth, and there's this weird mystery that you have to solve, and there's a lot of weird hidden things about it. But I can kind of see that working where you're trying to piece together footage, listening to audio cues, trying to sync up audio with different footage, and trying to like solve a mystery using that. So I think it could work in that kind of format. It's a strange game. I think it was on Netflix or something. I struggle to even call it a game because there's not really much traditional gameplay.
Okay.
You're just going backwards and forwards around different clips. And then eventually, after like many, many, many hours, you'll have the whole thing unlocked. And then you can actually watch these full-length movies that they made for this game. It's crazy. There's like an exploitation movie about like a nun and like this demon, which is like this 70s like Italian style film. Quite good. But then there's other ones that aren't as cool. But it's an interesting premise, and I think it could work for this. But I mean, it's a shame that you've got no idea what I'm talking about. It's a unique game. Anyway, this podcast also has a bit of a downer ending, much like the movie Blowout. Well, not yet, because we have to do our role. Actually, don't we?
We do.
So this could save everything.
Do you want my addition to the list as well?
Oh yes, I certainly do.
Would that be okay if I gave you that?
I would love to hear your replacement for Blowout.
I'd love a drum roll, please. And which is Wild at Heart.
Oh my god, that's for G-Star Games, isn't it?
No, it's for me. Fuck G, she didn't like my film. This is for me.
I thought you put a David Lynch movie there for her.
It's for me. I love David Lynch. I also just want somebody to call me Peanut, like Nicolas Cage calls.
I'm gonna call you Penis.
No.
Instead. It's a sign of my individuality. Brilliant. G, did you want to replace your anime with a film that's actually available on streaming?
Not really.
We have a bit of a trouble in the UK. We can leave it on there and just try and find some other way to watch it. I mean, we've all got it on physical media.
Yeah.
Watch Perfect Blue.
There's a lot of like anime
do,
websites, I guess, but you know, those are the winky face, you know.
Wink.
Yeah.
Wink.
Yeah. We'll leave it for now, and then
we'll see, because there's only a 1 in 18 chance of it coming up. So, we'll see. So this is for what number on each of our lists is, to narrow it down to one choice from each of us, and it's 2. So Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, or Raiders of the Lost Ark, which rhymes, or The Hidden. Okay, that's a good selection.
There isn't actually a losing one in this set, in my opinion.
I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to... yeah, okay. So, a 1 or 2 will be Simon, 3 or 4 will be G, a 5 or 6 will be Sophie. And it's a stop. It's a 2. It's Simon!
Oh.
It's Elvira, Mistress of the Dark!
Fucking yes.
Pog! Fucking Pog! Oh my god. This is a good... funny, uplifting, feel-good movie.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we needed this.
It is a fabulous movie.
We got justice at the end of the episode. We've got fun, entertainment. I can't believe it was 2 and a 2. That's just how it works, isn't it, with the rolls. Are you excited about Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, G-Star Games?
I am.
You never watched it before, I'm assuming.
I have not seen it before, but I know it's iconic. I've seen a lot of clips from it. Yeah, I've genuinely always wanted to watch it. So this is a really, really happy thing to happen.
Excellent. Oh, this is good. Oh, that's a relief, isn't it? It's a relief that it wasn't another G pick as well. I didn't want to say that, but
wow.
Yeah. Sorry.
She was already in too good a mood. We couldn't let her. We couldn't let her have anything today. I made her watch this film and she hates it. I just wanted to just let her just feel sad.
No. Okay. Well, thank you for yomping with us this week. Have a merry yomp time. I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't know anymore.
It's true, he never does.
No. Thank you for listening. Say goodbye, ladies. Sorry, lades.
Goodbye, lades.
Goodbye, lades.
Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to YOMP Patreon shoutouts. I thought you'd give you a bit of Simon there, but this is the part of the podcast episode where we say our thank yous to our wonderful, loyal Giga Yompers. Thank you so much to Bottle Gnomes, Enki13, Native Blood, Luck33, I Am a Robot, Lawrence Thibodeau, Sleepy DIJ, and Scout5877. If you too want to support us over on the Patreon, you can support at 3 different tiers and get your name shouted out at the end of every episode. We really appreciate you guys. We really, really do. Thank you for supporting us. And we hope you tune in next time. Bye-bye.